Welcome back to the Mining Your Business podcast, a show all about process mining, data science, and advanced business analytics. I am yet again Patrick, and with me, as always, my colleague Jakub. Hi.
Hi.
Today's episode is all about training, why it's important, and what you must consider before starting your learning journey. Joining us today is our very own Daniel Bitsch, a data scientist and trainer at our company. Let's get to it.
Sometimes the only difference between a huge success and failure in a process mining project is the people and their knowledge of the process mining tool. It's not only about process mining awareness within the organization, but very often it comes to the actual knowledge about how to use the tool and squeeze the most out of it. When it comes to process mining, the things can get a bit more complex than in a standard BI tool, especially when a user needs to start reading into the famous Process Explorer. And for that exact reason, investing the time and money into a proper training may ultimately yield the biggest return on investment in the project. Underestimate the training of your users and the project might very well not even lift off the ground. To talk about trainings, we have brought our very own expert on the topic, Daniel Bitsch. Daniel, thanks for coming to the show.
Hi guys, thank you to invite me. It's nice to be here with you.
Daniel, first, let me publicly congratulate you on your second born. That you are now on your daddy holiday, which I do envy you a bit, but congratulations, man.
Thank you. It's pretty nice, yeah.
Yeah, I can't actually imagine because I don't have any of my own, but, good for you. And I wish you all the best and, now nice and sound growing up with as little issues as possible. All right.
I enjoy the time with the kids now and see them growing up. Thanks.
Bring them to the office someday. Okay, Daniel, let's get to process mining. So we invited you as our own expert on trainings and looking into your career history, you actually worked as a kind of a freelancer or kind of a practitioner, a person who was doing trainings for Celonis for almost 2 years. How did you get into this position even?
Oh, that's a good question. It's kind of a long story. I cut it a little bit short. During my studies in Munich, I was working at a student consultancy, and we have a very close contact to Celonis because the three founders of Celonis were also part of this consultancy. And so during some meetings with them, they talked about having no trainers or need some trainers, and we started a pilot project, and I was part of it, and that was basically it. How I came to it, and it was fun, and that's how I started it.
Was that your first introduction into process mining, or had you heard about it before?
No, that was, during the consultancy times, it was the first time, Like I said, we had a close relationship, and other colleagues worked there as data scientists, made their internships there, and they brought it to the consultancy and showed what Celonis can do. And from the beginning, I was really hyped about the software, and I wanted to get to know it. So I was thinking, hey, let's join these meetings with Celonis, talk to them, and get to know them.
Did you have any prior experience to teaching or trainings beforehand, or?
Not professionally. It was also during the consultancy times. We had trainings for ourselves. We taught each other and stuff. And this was just teaching how to use Excel and some stuff there, and how to present right and stuff like this. Brought me to it, and I said, it's fun. So let's try it with Celonis. They didn't say, hey, you look good, you can talk, just get up there and do it. They also teach us how to do it, and they had their process how to bring us there. So
Yeah, that was actually my next question, which is very interesting because before we get into the trainer talks about the training, the trainer actually needs to teach himself first, right? And how did Celonis even introduce you into the tool, and how did you even start with being able to carry out this message, carry out this knowledge further on?
That's a good question. It was kind of a learning process. Started like most of our colleagues here at Processand. We had to do the online training and answer all the questions. And it started with the first sorting. Like they said, if you don't match up higher than 80%, you're not sorry, but then we don't go further. And after that, we had talked to them. If you had questions, we talked to data scientists and the other trainers. They actually had a trainer in the academy for that at that time. And then we started with our first training sessions to listen to it and sit there and see how other trainers are doing it. And from time to time, you get your own parts during the trainings, and from training to training, you talk more, and in the end, you were alone.
So they basically very much ease you into the process, and at some point, you are more or less capable of doing these trainings on your own.
Yeah, and they always had your back if there are questions, because now I can answer most of the questions myself because I'm working with the tool. But back then I was like, I'm teaching you to work with it, but in the back end, I don't know what's really happening. So they were always having your back, said like, if you have questions, if you can't answer questions, don't try to, don't give false information. Please call us or write us a message. Tell them you come back to them with the answer, and that's basically it.
Yeah.
So you were at the training of Celonis for about 1.5 years. What was the reason that you now work at Processand with us lovely people?
Yeah, you took me. No, no. I wanted to get more technical. I had my master's thesis. I also implemented one process at BMW, and I wondered, I wanted to do more stuff like this. I also said, okay, it doesn't need to be now. It could be in a few years, but I knew I want to go to be a data scientist. And I also applied to the academy as a full-time trainer. But in the end, I decided to come to Processand to start as a data scientist.
Okay, so Daniel, now let's really get into those trainings. My first question is a bit more general, and that is why should we even do trainings in the project? Like, why is it important? What does it bring?
That's really important. It's really good that you ask it. You kind of answered it yourself in the introduction. It is important that everybody knows how to use the new tool, because perhaps you've seen it in other companies you worked at. There is a new tool, they roll it out, and nobody knows exactly what to do with it, how to use it, when to use it. And then nobody uses it. And by the time it's kicked out because it's expensive and nobody even cares. And this is why it's important to enable all the people to use it and to see what value it could generate, and to make them have fun using it. So this is a big point of the trainings. Always say, hey, this is fun.
How do you make a training fun?
That's I have to say, since Corona, it's much harder to raise fun or to raise it. If you're in person, it's your type. You talk to them and you can make a joke and you see the gestures and mimic and you can work with it. if it's remote, it's hard. I must say it's harder to bring fun to it, or like from time to time to make them having fun.
Yeah. It. When we are looking into the trainings, at what part or what phase of the project you actually introduce it? Do you do it already before they even go in implementing the tool, or do you do it during the implementation, or maybe after? Is there some golden rule on how and when to do it?
No, it's individually, but like there are a few things you should have in mind. A few rules. At first, you need a capable partner at the company, as in during your implementation you can talk to. And it's best for the outcome if this person already understands how to use Celonis in the end. So this person should know what he or she is talking about. And so if there was a training, would be nice. Then before you start validating, so if we say, okay, status quo, we have now our 95% solution, please validate the data. The people who validate the data should also know how to go into the front end and click there, set filters, know what they read, what they can see. And in the end, it's the big crowd who should work with it. They also know how to use it. So there are three good points where you could set up a training. But I guess the first smaller training should be during the implementation, the implementation for the validation, and a bigger one should be in the end. Then you could do it already on customer data. The data should be validated, because this is a very important point. I don't know if you would come to it, but it's very important that users could trust the data. So it should be validated and they see really the result. If they see a work in progress, they perhaps don't accept it, because they say, oh, can I trust this data? Is it right what Celonis is telling me? And an important point
is that once the users are trained, it becomes a lot easier for them to validate their own data and gain confidence and trust into the analysis that you've built.
I guess, because think back to the days when you were first introduced to Celonis. It was a new tool, and of course you come out of you're young, have a quick grasp, but it's very impressive. It has a lot of things you can click on. You can have a lot of buttons and set filters, and you're a little bit confused. What is all about this, and where do you find what you want to see? And the training helps them to order the stuff and to know and to set it in connection what they do and what they see in the end. And I think for validation it's important, but for like validation, usually 2, 3, 4 people, they can also do the online training. To set up with an actual trainer in person is, I think, the best point in the enablement, fastest in the end.
So what I understood from what you're saying here, that it may be a good practice to divide the trainings into different phases. And let's say while the implementation partner, be it us or someone else, is still doing the implementation, it is good to already introduce the users into those online trainings that we all know from Celonis Academy. That are basically prefabricated on some dummy data, some just random data sets, so that the users actually get in touch for the first time with the tool. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's. I think it's good to handle it like that, because they see it. Yeah, I hear very often that this P2P demo process. It's how do I compare it to our process? It's much more complex and stuff like that. I get it, but to learn how to use the tool, it works pretty good. And
what would you say to someone thinking about when to actually do the trainings for their team or set the timeline, is there any specific point in the project where, based on your experience and your recommendation, is either way too early or way too late? Like,
yeah, it comes basically down to the data validation, I guess. Problem is really the validated data. Could they trust the data or not? And I think the acceptance, it's much higher if it's already validated. So it's one of the last points. Perhaps I could say, if we do value generation, perhaps right in between validation and value creation, because then they know what they work with during the value creation. Perhaps that's a good point in time. Yeah.
Okay. So once the users get the first introduction training from Celonis, which is usually this, as I said, the online courses that they can do in their free time and on their own pace, then I assume comes the actual training. That is the place where you come in, and this is where you come. You take whatever has been already implemented, the data that has been ideally to a certain degree already validated, and they are at least a bit comfortable using it. They say, okay, I see these purchase orders, I see these sales orders, and I know that they exist in the system, and I can believe the trace, the process that I see with them. So you are coming into the company and you are going to do the training on their data set, on their reports. How do you prepare for this?
Yeah, that's tough sometimes, especially if I wasn't the guy implemented the process. Usually I start with talking to the guy who implemented it to get to know the process. If we weren't the implementation partner, if it's a total new process, back in the days at Celonis, I had this. Yeah, I just take some time to go myself into Celonis, into the data, dive deep, take a look what they implemented, go to the backend and take a look at the formulas for calculating KPIs and stuff like that. And that's the first step I do. I just want to get to know the process, want to know what I am talking about. Yeah, it's the most important
take long?
thing. Depends on the process. If it's a P2P, usually it's faster than, for example, at one customer. But there, for this training, somebody from the academy made this huge step for preparing it for me. He took 3 days for preparing this training.
What was the process?
It was, I don't know the English word, Kfz-Schaden. It was really complex, and what they have as KPIs was complex, and they wanted to have a PQL deep dive. So it was, and the topic also was complex. So it was also new training for me and for the academy. So they came a lot together. So 3 days were totally necessary.
Yeah.
But he managed to give me a really good training, and it was nice. I myself learned a few things, just small things, but I've seen some formulas I've never used before. I don't know if I will ever use them, but Celonis is capable to work with them. Yeah.
So you are coming to a training, and so I guess each customer has a bit different set of requirements that they want to learn, and also a bit different set of people that you are going to teach. How do you even set the goals for the training if you're coming there?
The nice thing is that they trust you. They say, okay, we are open-minded. Just we want to be capable to use Celonis afterwards. So this is their goal. That's it. Most of the time. And so I'm free. I'm free to set up the rules and set up what they are capable of afterwards. And on customer data, it's always hard. So this is a big decision: customer data or demo data. We could talk about it in a few minutes. But if it's on customer data, I always say it's not about explaining you all your analysis and all KPIs, because then we're back in status quo meeting workshop. I explain you how to use the software. I pick out some examples for each component that is used in your analysis, and then we talk about them, not about your complete analysis. So I'm coming back to your question. I'm free to set up the rules normally.
When you set up the rules, do you take into account how long this is going to take you? I mean, training up somebody that doesn't know the software at all to them being an expert like you takes 3 years. So how do you go from a noob from a newbie to someone that is somewhat capable of clicking around? Like, I'm sure the goal is defined by how much time you can spend with them.
Yeah, that's basically it. You say it. If they want to be an analyst afterwards and want to go back to the back end and do formulas and stuff like that on their own, it takes much more time. And then we talk about it. They say, okay, we want to, Then they said their goal is to click in the front end as a business user. Then I recommend, okay, we should use 1/2 day or a little bit more than 1/2 day. And they could, if they cannot block it, then we can say we split it to 2 few hours session and stuff like that. So it's basically a discussion, or we're talking about it, the customer and me, what are their goals and how we could reach them.
So in setting your goals and figuring out what the user should be capable of doing, how do you kind of gauge the customer's knowledge of the tool already? So some of them might have some more experience than others, and how do you kind of figure out what they're already capable of?
With a short introduction in the beginning. It's like, tell me what you know about Celonis, how much you did. And I don't remember when it was different. Most of the time it's like, some say, I did the online training, but it has been ages since I did them. And most of them, because most of them are new on this topic, say, I don't have a clue. And then most of my trainings, I start after a short theory part. I start with, okay, this is the landing page. And there you can see this, you can see a workspace, you can see an analysis. If you click on analysis, in the top left, there is the Celonis button. This is the fastest way to go back to the landing page and stuff like that. So really, really basics.
So it's almost Go on, Daniel. Sorry.
No. I just wanted to say it's needed, because sometimes they jump into the software on their own and they help validating. I had this case and it worked somehow, but during the training, the guy said, "Oh, I didn't know that. And that were really the basics, how to navigate through the Celonis software.
So it almost sounds as if you were in some Disney movie where you just come there and you say, oh boy, we got a lot of work to do. And suddenly the music starts playing and, you're introducing them. They're making the progress. Sometimes they'll fail. But, in 3 minutes of the song, they end up being a super expert in Celonis. And you're like, good work, team.
I'll be happy, yeah.
While this music is playing and everybody's learning, what do you actually do during the training? I wonder, how is it going? How do you lead it? What are you teaching them?
I want to have them as much hands-on as it is possible. I start with a short introduction. What is process mining in general? What are we doing? How do we get the data together? And which data are we working with? And then we jump into the software. I show something. Like I said, here, click into the analysis, then you come back, stuff like that. And then I'm preparing questions and they have to answer it. If we are in person at the customer, for example, on site, they answer the questions on their own. And due to Corona, we had to all our trainings remotely. I separate them in we had teams in different group rooms, and then they discuss it in groups of 3 to 4 people. And then they have to do a lot of stuff on their own, because that's the only way they get to know it and they remember it like a little bit. Most of the time they have their training, and the time since they until they work the first time with the software on their own is 3-4 weeks after. So it's hard to remember all of that if you just listen to it. So they have to do something on their own.
When you're explaining things to these people in your trainings, I do this thing where when I'm talking to someone, I'm very presumptuous of the fact that they know the same thing that I do. And then I just kind of completely talk past them because I just assume that they know what I know. So as a trainer, how do you avoid doing that? And how do you best engage people's knowledge?
It's hard because you have a big group and everybody's knowledge level is different. So basically you start everything from zero, and you learn it very quick to do that, because if you don't, there are questions and they ask them. I hope they ask them. I always encourage them to ask questions, always interrupt me if I'm too fast, if I'm not on their level, if they some things don't know. And then it's a process during the training, I would say. In the first few hours, you start everything from the beginning, and then you get to know each other a little bit. After the first set of exercises, you see who did the answers, who was fast, who was not that fast, and then you not separate, but you can sort them after knowledge skill. And then if they have just a question to you in person, somebody who has a higher skill level, then you can like you say, you assume they know some stuff, and you have to put that in your mind.
I'm wondering, do you also give them homework? So let's say when you're done for the day, you said that the training can take a couple of days, even depending on the scope and on the amount of information that you want to share with them. Are you like in a school really ending with okay, people, so here we have a little task and I will be rating it tomorrow, so please spend some time with it?
No, in the beginning I say, no, not the bell ends the lesson, I end the lesson.
True. Love that.
No, usually not. If the last few trainings were just business users, so it's a quick session, 4 to 6 hours. And if it happens that we don't get through all the stuff we set as a goal, then I prepare something in the slides, like you all know, selection views, a set of filters, and they are sometimes a little bit not intuitive. And I have prepared a slide where I explain them a little bit more, and then I send it with my presentation and the exercises. And then I say, if you want to, feel free to try to answer the questions with this little sheet. But usually I don't give homework. Just in the end, I say, okay, there is a link, because I'm certified Celonis trainer. So I'm working with them. They have a platform to download some certificates also. And there they have, the participants have, the possibility to give me feedback. And then I say, hey, please download your certification. And if you have 2 minutes to spare, please give me some feedback that I could get better. Yeah. Or if I'm already good,
Sorry, as soon as you said homework, I was picturing you at a parent-teacher conference talking to their parents, telling them they haven't done their homework.
Yeah. That would be nice sometimes.
But my question was going to be like, do you ever do follow-ups to your trainings? So you've done a training like 2 months ago. Do you ever say, hey, let's freshen up your skills, and let's if anybody needs it, can we schedule a follow-up?
We have this in our scope from Processand trainings, but till today never happened. I also say I also tell them, please, if you have questions in 1 or 2 months, and if it's not like open a new trainings or meeting for 1 hour. If it's a quick question, you please write me. I will help you.
I mean, this only means that your first trainings, are very highly effective.
Yeah, I hope so.
How do the people enjoy the trainings? Are they generally like, when they are coming into it, are they excited to do it? Or is it more like our boss is forcing us to use this another new tool and we really have to sit it out and listen to it? Or does it differ and depend?
It depends on who is joining the training, but usually they enjoy it. Sometimes if there is a higher level in hierarchy joining the training and this person is not not the funniest person, then it's pretty straight. And yeah, we do our stuff and no laughing, just talking and learning and stuff like that. But usually it's getting a little bit more comfortable and the people are talking and laughing. Sometimes I do a joke, they do a joke, and it's a very comfortable situation for everybody. And yeah, I try to arrange it because it's much easier for them to ask questions, to come out of their comfort zone, to learn more, and then it's easier.
Seems like your trainings are really fun, and I kind of want to experience one of those. Unfortunately, I was not able so far, so hopefully you'll do an internal training someday.
Hopefully,
I want to hear your jokes.
Yeah, or maybe Daniel is using these trainings as a way to, boost his stand-up career.
Yeah,
who knows?
No.
True.
Too time intensive.
So in terms of just being at the meetings, what else is expected of the people attending your trainings? Like what do you need them to have to be able to do these?
Not much. A stable internet connection if it's remote. And I like them to put on the camera because like we said earlier, it's hard to talk to them, to bring a certain atmosphere if you don't see anybody and get them gestures and mimic. And that's basically it. It's really, I give them the agenda a few days earlier, give them the link where they could log in. And perhaps on the day itself, I send them the questions, the exercises, and that's it. So, yeah.
What is usually the most problematic part of the training? Like, what is causing problems for the users? What do you have to spend usually more time on?
I come down to one or two components. What do you guys think from your history in implementing and bringing it to people to work with Celonis? What do you think? Which are the two components in combination which are the most problematic?
PU functions.
You're going much too deep. Let's stick with business user level. Just the components and using them.
Well, I would say the Process Explorer and how to use it
these two.
effectively.
What are the differences between these two components? Why do we see...
I gotta say, it took me about a year to find out. So.
Yeah, it's hard to understand why is in the Process Explorer the numbers of each connection and activity, why are they all different? And why do we see it in the Varied Explorer? And what's the difference between the two explorers and how to use them? And this is a tricky part. And in addition, in these two components, there is the case count and the activity count. And also the difference between these two numbers. In one training, I think it took one person half an hour or 2-3 persons, a group of persons, to get the difference between the two. And I explained it on many different and examples from their daily life and stuff like that. But it was hard for them to separate it. And so sometimes you think PU functions very problems and problematic and stuff like that. But it could also be the basics where some of our colleagues would not think about going so deep and talk about these problems, but they could cause very big question marks at the customer side and the user side.
Mm-hmm. Then Daniel, tell me, what is the difference between a process explorer and a variant explorer? If there is someone in the audience who doesn't know the answer, and let's say that they are starting out with it, and this actually is a good question, because what is the difference between the two?
It's a good question. We have the variant explorer who basically makes up some buckets and say, okay, one bucket is one variant, how your process could be flown through by one of our case. And for example, variant A is going to activity A, B, C, D. Variant B is the activities A, C, B, D. So just two of them are switched. So these are different variants. And then it shows you every single variant that could be, that is possible, that happened in the company. So you always see in the beginning, it's the same number throughout the whole process, if you just look at one variant, of course. And that's pretty nice, because everybody thinks about, if he or she thinks about a process, thinks about a flow. From the beginning to end, it's a flow. We start with activities, follow up, and in the end, you have your same case. But the problem is, why there is a process explorer, you don't find rare activities. You don't have absolute numbers. In variant 1, activity A happened 4 times. In variant B, 3 times. In variant C, perhaps it didn't happen at all. And in variant Z, 1 time. So how do I know how often did activity A happen? And this is where the Process Explorer comes to its usage, because in the Process Explorer, we see total numbers, and that's one of the biggest advantages. We see from the beginning, okay, this activity happened so often. And we could talk 8 hours about it, but that's the main difference between both of them. In the Process Explorer, we see just the most, I don't get the word, the most common activities and their connections. Yeah.
So if anybody of our listeners would like to know more, they can schedule a training with Daniel at any time. But talking more about the training again, you already mentioned this already, but using a company's data set versus using a generic one, right? Can you tell me a little bit more about like what the difference is and what in your experiences work better or less so than?
It's interesting, because everybody thinks, let's do it on our customer data, because then everybody knows the process and they know what we are talking about. And I get it. It is an advantage if the people know the process, know what an activity stands for. But history has shown that if you are on customer data, they always drift away and say, oh, this is my, my group. So let's see how we perform. And then how is the automation rate? How do we see this? And they dive into their KPIs and want to talk about it and ask you questions about it. And that's not the goal of the training. The goal of the training is to get to know the software. And therefore it's, normally I recommend to use the demo data. It's a little bit odd that it's not that complicated as most of the customers' processes. And that's really, sometimes it's really not good. But in general, they get more out of it regarding the software. The best thing would be, I guess, a hybrid solution to start on demo data and do the first day for perhaps a few things in the second day on demo data, and then dive into the customer's data. Then you have both combined and the best out of everything.
That's actually interesting because I never thought about it. I was always on that side of the barrier who would be saying, let's always use our own data because this is the most interesting. You find some interesting use cases there already. But actually, I like your point where you're saying that this can actually take your attention away from the goal, which is to learn how to use the tool, not to deep dive into the use cases. So definitely an interesting point. So if you are wrapping up then the training, what would be the ideal outcome, an ideal scenario that you leave the company and say, you know what, I did a good job. I think this training went very well. And how would you assess it? What do you think the person should be able to do after this?
Ideal, they know everything and could use the software. But I'm happy with the outcome that they are looking forward using the software. It's not my point that they know everything. There will always be some points. Like I said earlier, I learned something during the last training I gave. But if they are hyped to use it, to explore their own process, is much more important. That the user acceptance is one of the key factors of the success of our project in the end. And so if the user acceptance is high and they are hyped and they want to use it, then I think I did a good job. And they know how the basics, so that they don't go on their own into the software and say, oh no, I don't know how to use it, and it's all bullshit. Let's never use it again. So that's would not be good. So if they know the basics and be hyped about the software.
So let's try this. If you were a manager, right, and your company is just starting out with process mining, how would you best enable your colleagues?
If I'm the manager and know about the tool?
Yeah.
You know about the tool and you want to implement it, and you want to be at a point where you can say, I want to enable my users to be able to use this tool. What is, in your opinion, the best approach to go about it?
I would call me. But I think you didn't aim on this. I'm not sure if I get it right, but I would have a training and show them what the software is capable, to give them a quick insight. In the first place, give them a quick insight, show them their numbers and say, hey, person XY, how many sales orders did our company proceed the last few months? And say, what do you think? What are the numbers? And then the person says, I don't know. I have to check SAP, and it takes me some time, but I'll come back to you. And he mentions, okay, one click, Celonis, here we proceeded so many. And then stuff like that. Just show them how useful Celonis could be, so that they want to use it, and then dive deep with them. Show them really how the manager, so how I did this and how I came to the results that quick.
So generally get them excited about it.
It's all about it.
Okay. Do you have any memory of a training that went exceptionally well, and on the other side, also exceptionally bad?
Exceptionally bad, I think, was my first remote training.
Okay.
There was one guy who complained afterwards, really tough. It was during my Celonis times, and he wrote the academy, hey, how could somebody do such a bad training? And he was the only guy who complained this hard. It was tough it's really a big difference, remote and in person. And it was new to me. And it was, in recap, it wasn't my best training. I have to admit it.
Yeah.
And he was right with a few parts, but that was, I guess, the worst. And exceptionally good. Yeah. I don't know.
Every other training.
They are all. No, but I don't think I have one outstanding memory. No, sorry.
No problem.
Yeah.
Then, I guess we've heard a lot about trainings today, Daniel. That's really brilliant. And I have one last question for you before we wrap up the episode. What do you like more, doing the data science or doing the trainings?
Doing the data science is
okay.
It's much more comfortable. You sit there in your own pace, doing your stuff, know what to do, when to do. And the training is sometimes, hits you with questions and stuff out of the blue. But it's nice. It's also nice.
Can get stressful, I can imagine. I had a little teaching experience on my own, and I know that there can be some uncomfortable times at some point. Okay, Daniel, I want to thank you again for making the time for us and really talking with us about the trainings. I can say already that I think I took out some very interesting points out of it. I hope that you, our listeners, did as well. If you are ever in need of a training, well, you can use our Daniel. He is always happy to do so, even though he prefers data science these days. Regardless, thank you very much for listening to our episode. As usual, we would be very happy if you could rate us on Apple Podcasts. Every good review counts. If you have any questions whatsoever, just hit us on mindingyourbusinesspodcast@gmail.com and we will be sure to reply. Patrick, Daniel, thank you very much for today's episode, and I'll hear you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Daniel. Bye.